This is Brandon with Fleet Feet, and today I've got a shoe from one of my favorite brands, ASICS. And it's not just any shoe, it is a completely new shoe, the ASICS Glideride Max. Now, this is the men's version and this is the women's version, but they're pretty similar in colorway. There will be more colors coming out, but these are the two that have launched. Now, I say new shoe, but what does that really mean? ASICS actually had the Glideride 3, but then have stopped that shoe, I think for the last couple of years now, and then they've brought the Glideride back, but this time as a Max shoe. So what does Max really mean? Is Max a new line that ASICS is going to be coming out with? Is it going to be the Kayano Max? Is there going to be a Nova Blast Max? Is there going to be other Max shoes coming out? I'm not so sure, but that's something that we should be keeping an eye on. For the Glideride, does this also mean that the Glideride 4 is going to be coming out? Does it mean that the Glideride is making a comeback? But what I do know is that we have the Glideride Max. This Glideride Max is taking some of the qualities from the Glideride 3 and some new qualities with a new foam. So let's get into it and let's talk all about it. The Glideride 3 was a fan favorite by so many, and a lot of shoe reviewers did enjoy this shoe. It was a soft shoe, it had a lot of cushioning, and it had a insane rocker geometry to it. It was great for those everyday miles and especially for long runs. Well, the Glideride Max is back, and it is definitely made for everyday miles. It is made for those slower long run days, and it is very well cushioned. It is a Max cushion daily trainer. And before we go any further, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps to support us in all of these videos. Now, the upper of this shoe is actually pretty similar to what we've been seeing in other daily trainers. It has an engineered mesh upper, which is the same technology that's used in the Kayano and the Cumulus. And something I will note is that the tongue is a little bit more padded and it is a little bit more meshy than some of the other tongues that we've been seeing. ASICS have moved away from the stretchy tongue for this one, but I honestly feel like it was the right move because this upper is all about comfort. The tongue is gusseted and there are minimal overlays, so it isn't really adding any unnecessary weight. And one of our reviewers, Kate, found that the upper of this shoe was very plush. She felt like the heel collar had a pillow in it and it was just this really nice soft sensation. Kate found that it was very soft, it was thick, it was squishy, and it just had that feeling of a very comfortable upper. And for her, this shoe fit true to size, and even though she still had enough room all around in the shoe and enough space for her feet to breathe, she didn't find that her foot was sloshing around at all. She found that the midfoot and the heel lockdown were quite snug, but there was quite a bit of space in the toe box. And I agree with pretty much everything that Kate is saying. I found that the toe box was quite spacious, there was enough lock in the midfoot and in the heel, and overall the upper was very comfortable. But if you want to try this shoe on for yourself or find out whether this shoe is going to fit best for you, you can go into your local Fleet Feet store, go through the Fit ID process and the outfitting experience, go get your foot scanned and find out whether this shoe is going to fit best for you. Now, let's move on to the midsole, and there is a lot going on here. And the first thing that I should note is that it is a dual density midsole. This top layer here that you're seeing that's more in white is going to be Flight Foam Blast Max, which is a new foam from ASICS. And Flight Foam Blast Max is one of the softer and more responsive foams from ASICS, and it definitely has that really nice soft sink-in feeling that you're used to from an ASICS shoe. And the bottom layer here is this green layer, which is Flight Foam Blast Eco, which is what you can find in shoes like the Nova Blast and the Nimbus. The midsole of this shoe is extremely soft and it has a ton of stack. After testing this shoe, I wouldn't say that it was the most energetic shoe on the market, but it definitely has a ton of cushioning, it's very plush, it's very comfortable, and it has a very aggressive rolling sensation. One of the best qualities about this shoe is its Guidesole technology. Guidesole technology is essentially the rocker geometry that we know and love from the Glideride 3 and some of the other shoes from ASICS. Now, what is unique about the rocker and stability of this shoe is that there's actually a plate that's running through the two foams here, and it just creates a little bit more stability in the shoe and allows for a nice energetic feel and a nice rocking sensation. And the plate is considered a hard pressed EVA plate, so it isn't exactly a carbon fiber plate. It is going to be a less aggressive plate. The drop of the shoe comes in at 6 millimeters with 44 millimeters in the heel and 38 for the men's model. So you are getting that very high stack. The only shoe with more stack than this is the Super Blast from ASICS. And for the women's model, it comes in at 43 and 37. Now let's move on to the outsole. The outsole is made up of hybrid ASICS grip. It's the same outsole compound that can be found in the Kayano. While it is very durable and it is tacky, it is mainly focused to be a soft outsole. Now let's move on to the ride and performance. This is a long run day shoe, an absolute cruiser. It is going to be best for those days where you want to run 12, 13, 14 miles or whatever your long run day might be, and you just want to cruise and you want to chill and you want to go for a long run. Like I said earlier, it's not going to be the fastest shoe out there, but it is going to be a workhorse and it is going to be one of those shoes that you can continue to put on and it's going to eat up the bulk of your miles. There was a lot of conversation on the Fleet Feet team whether this shoe was too soft or it was just the right amount of soft. What we did agree on is that this shoe isn't that responsive, but it is very comfortable. Kate actually had a lot to say about it, and she's been trying out the Glideride since 2019. At the time in 2019, Kate found that there was this Glideride that came out and it was this firm, very springy and energetic shoe with a crazy rocker system. Now she finds that the Glideride Max is a totally different experience. And she says here that instead of it being springy, it's definitely more soft. She found that there was quite a bit of compression in this shoe and it definitely softens up, and she found that there was a ton of sink-in feel. For her, she just prefers something a little bit more firm, a little bit more stable. So for her flat feet and her arches, this shoe just didn't make as much sense. One of our viewers, Caroline, found that this shoe was not too soft, it wasn't too firm, it was just right for her. Caroline found that this shoe just had a little bit of bounce to it, but the real champion was the rocking sensation and that Guidesole technology. She found that just the curvature of the roll just really helped move her forward. Caroline also took this out on some easy runs and a tempo run, and she found that it was one of those shoes that was just really natural with her stride. It didn't exactly propel her forward or make her move any faster, but it was one of those shoes that worked really well with her natural cadence. The weight of this shoe comes in at 290 grams or 10.2 ounces for the men's model and 255 grams or 8.9 ounces for the women's model. Now, this is a little bit on the heavier side for a daily trainer, but it makes sense because it has two foams, it has a plate, it has a very cushioned upper. It's just one of those shoes that's going to be this max cushion feel and a ton of foam. When I was running in this shoe, I didn't notice the weight. I didn't notice that it was a very heavy shoe at all, but sure, the numbers say one thing, but the feeling is the thing that's going to matter most. And overall, I didn't really notice the weight. This shoe comes in at $170, and other shoes in this price range and category are going to be shoes like the Hoka Skyflow at $160 and the New Balance More V5 at $155. Both the More and the Skyflow are made up of premium technology similar to that of the ASICS Glideride, and all of these shoes are max cushion. And if you want to get your hands on the ASICS Glideride Max, you can go into your local Fleet Feet store and go check it out there or online at fleetfeet.com. What video do you want to see next? Make sure to leave that in the comments below. And if you want to learn more about the ASICS Glideride Max or other ASICS shoes in general, you can check those out on our YouTube channel, or you can check them out on the written blog at fleetfeet.com.